Let's go back for just a few minutes and recall a few high spots in the history of sound. I have a gentleman here wearing a pith helmet, walrus mustache, and carrying a lion skin rug. Looks like he's just in from a safari. Pardon me, sir. May I ask your name?
My name, Sir Trafalgar Whitley.
Sir Trafalgar, I know that among all your other accomplishments, you're the world's greatest authority on drums. Isn't that the case?
That's very much the case. Yes, you see, my family, we came from England, I suppose you can tell by the accent. And we then went on to live in Africa, where, of course, the drum originated. And, of course, as you would look out in one direction as I would look out in that direction, you would hear that drum, you see, beating. And then you'd look way over there, and you'd hear the drums there, perhaps drumming up some kind of little natives, you know, doing chants, things of that nature, perhaps boiling a missionary. Then there would be drums over there in the far hills, and those drums would be sending off messages such as they are now, you see, with regard to the great elephant hunt. So it was that we were in the Zambezi, which is literally infested with crocodiles, Norman. And suddenly, these crocs opened up their jowls, and 3 of our prize boys were in them. And of course, I got several good pictures. 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them, and used them later at a Rotary Club in Muncie. But and was frowned upon, but they were quite good. Then it was that we'd finally reached the far side of the river, you see, and into the heart of the Gualumuchachau country.
The what country was that?
I'd rather not repeat it. I wasn't there long enough, really, to get the correct pronunciation. And we were in hopes of killing a lion, you see. And we waited there in the shrubbery, in the brush. And suddenly the lion came out in front of us and sort of sat down, as they will until they get tired, you know. And a couple of the cubs came over and sort of mingled around the mother. Father was off someplace, I suppose, doing, who knows. Anyway, we got some excellent pictures, and all of a sudden the cubs sort of sprung out and off the road, you see, and into another area in the thicket. And about 17 elephants, great bulls, most of them, bull elephants, heavy tusks, bore down upon the poor lioness. And the great thing about it, though, the great satisfaction was terrible, you know, after we missed out on so many pictures of the lion and the lioness and the cubs, is that we did have a magnificent rug for our little home in Nairobi.
Well, thank you very much. That was a fascinating picture of life inside Africa. I'm very grateful to you for sharing it with us. Much as we take it for granted today, it took centuries and the best thinking of many wise men before we could finally control sound and send it by wire. We did it with the first telegraph. And once we'd broken the sound barrier by putting messages through wires, we were really into the age of electronic communication. The telephone followed. And the next thing people knew, Mr. Edison had recorded the human voice. Thanks to him, we can still hear Caruso. Which brings us to an interesting-looking lady standing here admiring another antique, one of the first phonographs. Let's listen. Sounds pretty tinny, doesn't it? May I ask you, ma'am, what do you think of this phonograph?
I just love it. True, it's outdated.
May I ask what your name is?
Maude Frickert, 89 years old, and still having a ball in life.
Would you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, I've always been interested in aviation. My brother, Lamar Jean, was quite a fanatic about aviation and the airplane, you know.
Were you ever up in an airplane yourself?
Oh, yes. I'm the oldest living airline stewardess.
Miss Frickert, I wonder if you can remember back to the very first time you began to fly, can you?
Oh, yes, very easily. Me and my brother, Lamar Jean, he was one for aviation and everything, and I'll never forget one terrible, dreadful night. It was during an electrical storm. Thunder, the lightning, the clouds gathering together, you know, and we was almost struck there before we got into the air. And the clouds, you know, bumping together, and he wired me to the silly kite and sent me up into the storm, and I was lit up several times. He was lit up when he sent me up. It was terrible, pathetic.
Miss Frickert, what do you think about jet air travel?
Well, I think it's here to stay. Oh, there's my grandson is taking off. Fantastic. 10 years old. There's a real rubber band attached to that one, isn't there?
Well, there sure is. And now, you've been in the airline business over such a long period of time. You were one of the real pioneers. Could you give us some idea on what is the greatest single advance that's been made in all that period?
Very simple. The invention of the paper bag.
Paper bag. Why?
Well, it beats sticking your head out the window.
Well, thank you, Miss Frickert. You know, as Miss Frickert said, we've certainly moved along fast. Today, recorded sound has reached the very pinnacle of fidelity. Gets pretty complicated sometimes, though. Here's a gentleman who looks like he's about to discuss modern sound. He's surrounded by giant amplifiers, speakers as big as a garage door, a huge exhibit of modern sound equipment. What do you think about this exhibit, sir?
Pathetic. My feeling is certainly not the equipment is pathetic, nor the sound or anything here, but it's too small an exhibit. I just opened the whole thing in Grand Canyon. We just filled it full of sound and all kinds of jazz, and it's just wonderful. It's too small, rather obvious.
Well, you sound as though you're from Texas. Could I ask what your name is?
No, I'm not from Texas. I've lived all over the 50 states now, aren't there? I'm lovely B.B. Bindlestiff.
What does the BB stand for?
Big Biz. I've set up my own communication.
Well, I would like to know what you're doing here today, though.
Well, I'm just here to buy this whole thing. It's a fantastic display, haven't you? What's your connection here? What do you do?
I'm just going
I don't
around...
believe I recognize you. Have you been with my organization long? I have so many people.
Now, I'm just going around from exhibit to exhibit, interviewing some of the visitors who've come to see us.
In other words,
today.
you're an announcer. That's what you're trying to say. Would you
That's
like to
right.
have your own radio station, your own program?
Yes, sir.
All right, then just keep on mentioning Motorola. Say that quickly.
Motorola.
Very good. Yes, you're a good enlisted man.
Now,
I have the feeling I'm boring you. Is that it?
No,
Yeah,
no,
you can't
no,
handle a tycoon. I can
sir.
buy you. I bought my brother. I bought my sister. I bought 12 wives. I guess I could buy you.
No, sir, I
Big
just have
biz,
to go
that's
on.
it.
to the-
Well, what do you mean you have to go on? You can stop now. Look at this equipment. Doesn't that stop you? Doesn't that make you want
Yes,
to turn
it's
around and look?
fascinating.
Stop
Thank-
fumbling around with these silly interviews, looking at these people. I want all these people. Where are they? That Trafalgar Whitley, that
Yes,
old
sir.
lady,
Thank
that
you
airline,
very,
that
very much.
stupid man over there. You come over here. I'll buy you $4 here.
Well, no matter how much money Mr. B.B. Bindlestiff spends, he's never going to enjoy stereo hi-fi as much as you are. So we'll go away and let you start enjoying it.